I'm Dan Brisebois, and this is the Farmer Spreadsheet Academy. Today, we're going to join things with an ampersand. What is an ampersand? Well, an ampersand is that little squiggle that we use instead of the word end. In a spreadsheet, it means essentially the same thing. So this is an easy tip that I am sure you're going to pick up right away. We're going to go back to spreadsheet tip number 12, which was called All About Nothing. And in that tip, we started to look at how we refer to things in formulas. In this context, using the ampersand. When we deal with numbers, you can basically write the numbers as is. Here, this column is what we're going to be typing in. Equals 0 and 1. And the ampersand is 6, and if we push enter, it's a 0, 16. So that's what the ampersand does. It just unites the things together, one beside the other. And that works really easily with numbers. If we're using text, the text needs to be within quotation marks. So here this example shows open quotation mark, farmer, close quotation mark, ampersand, open quotation mark, spreadsheet, close quotation mark, ampersand, and then academy between quotation mark. Put that in. And we push enter, it ties all those words together. Now we'd like to have a little bit of space between the different words. And that brings us to our next point. When we're using empty spaces, we put a space within quotation marks. So you can see the red here is a space between the quotation marks. I'm copy pasting the text that we just have here. And so that space shows in both places, and we can push enter, and it shows Farmer Spreadsheet Academy with a space in between them. And now the last thing we might refer to, or often refer to, is contents of other cells. And in this case, we refer to the cell without quotation marks. So here we want to refer to cell D9 and D7 equals D9 and D7, enter. And it's Farmer Spreadsheet Academy 016. And this is the 16th Farmer Spreadsheet Academy tip, so it's rather convenient. If we want to put a space between Academy and 016, we would enter D9 ampersand, quotation mark, space, quotation mark, ampersand, D7, and there we are. Now let's look at an example when you might want to do that. Here we have a product list for seeds that we offer. We have a master list to make sure that everything is referred to the same way. There are some SKUs, stands for stock keeping unit, shorthand for just the product code. And so we have 5 products that are in the BR301 family, and they each have a different format. And they're all Shanghai green bok choy. And so format A is 2 grams, format B is 25 grams, format C is 100 grams, and you get the rest. And then we also have BR001, the Mighty Mustard Mix, same breakdown. This is the parent SKU. We want to make a SKU for each individual product. So in this case, we do equals, choose A5, which is the parent SKU, ampersand, quotation mark, hyphen, quotation mark, ampersand, and then the format code. And so BR301-5 is the product code for Shanghai green. Now we might want to have a name with the format for reference. So we could do equals cell C5, which is Shanghai green. And we want to put a space between this and the format, quotation mark, space, quotation mark, ampersand, and we're going to grab the weight, and then ampersand, quotation mark, G for grams, quotation mark. And then we'll close that. So Shanghai green, 2 grams. And maybe we want it in some cases to have both of those together, perhaps on an invoice to be clear to clients. So equals cell E5 that we just created, ampersand, quotation mark, space, quotation mark, so make a space between 2 items, and then ampersand, and then choose that F5. And there we have all information together. We just enter each of these separately, and then these formulas put them together. Now we can use handy spreadsheet tip number 15 using the fill handle. So we'll highlight this, and in the lower right, you can see the little square. That's the fill handle. We'll pull down until there, and we've dragged and dropped. Here, the formulas automatically update, and there you are. There's a couple other formulas that do similar stuff. So up in the top row is some yellow information from the product list that we might want to join together. Here are some ways to do it. The first is the concatenate formula. It essentially does the same thing as ampersand. Here we have concatenate, and then, so let's just write that, equals concatenate, open parentheses, choose A1, comma, and then we're going to put a hyphen, comma, we're going to choose B2, comma, put in a space, comma, and then we're going to choose C2, comma, and then we're going to put in another space, comma, D2, or actually I keep saying 2, but it's A1, B1, C1, D1, comma, and then E1, close parentheses, and we get the same result we got from the other formula. So concatenate replaces the ampersands with the formula. In this specific case, I would rather just use the ampersands. It's less typing and it gives the same result. But if there was a case where you had a bunch of stuff that you want to put together and you don't need to have things in between it, like the hyphens or spaces, then concatenate really offers some great options. So equals concatenate, open parentheses, we could highlight all of A1 through E1, close parentheses, enter, and it just shoves everything together. So in a context where you need to put everything together one after the other, concatenate is fantastic. One other formula is called text join. This is kind of like concatenate with just a list of things. It puts the same divider between each text. So let's see how that looks. Equals text join, and then open parentheses. We want to join the text with hyphens, and then comma. And then here it says true. You can either choose true or false. True means that you're going to skip any empty cells. False means you wouldn't. And then comma, and then let's highlight that A1 to E1, and then parentheses closed, enter. And that puts everything together one after the other with hyphens in between them. And then this true means that it skips any cells that are empty. So if we delete Shanghai green, it just cuts it out of the list. We could delete the B and so forth. But let's put them back. So those are really fantastic formulas to use in the context that works well. Most of the time, I find that ampersand does exactly what I need it to do. So that was joining things together with ampersand. I'll be back next week with another farmer spreadsheet tip. While you're waiting impatiently, you can email me, message me, or leave a comment on any of my posts about any farm planning or crop planning or management question you have that might be solved by spreadsheets. I love to get these messages, so send them my way. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, and happy farming.